Hello everyone and welcome back to EXA Season 10 Division 1 for the 8th round of the season. We are here at the Circuit Hermanos Rodriguez for the Mexican Grand Prix here tonight. The 2.6 mile circuit contains 17 turns, 6 to the left and 11 to the right, with 3 DRS zones completing the circuit. The highest altitude circuit on the calendar has the longest run down to turn 1 in F1 on the F1 calendar. Does that play a factor tonight? We'll have to find out. We've got 18 minutes of qualifying to go. Yeah, I am your commentator, James Jackson, and I will be taking you through tonight's action of 18 car grid as we get into qualifying. But first, we've got to go through what happened a couple of weeks ago. We had in Spain, Diego Zorzo take victory ahead of Gabriel Coutinho. Angelo D'Ortenzio rounded out the final podium spot with Pascal Ranelli, Larry Tolke, Voltesteg, Tamas Kokone, Nelson Alves, Kendall and Simbax 1 ran out that top 10. And the 10 finishers, 10 finishers in the points, and that is allowed Diego Zorzo to take the championship lead of 24 points, well 29 points once you take out Luca Rapassa, who's gone now, but it's a 29-point lead over Larry Tolke. Tamas Kokone in fourth in the standings. Jensen Rosen in fifth ahead of Tony Adela, Gabriel Coutinho, Angelo D'Ortenzio, Liam Stevens and Pascal Ranelli as our top 10 in the drivers' standings. The constructor standings show Mercedes at the top with 33-point lead over Williams. 5 points for Bakis Red Bull, while Haas and RB sit in fourth and fifth in the standings. Ferrari, Alpine and Aston 6th, 7th and 8th, while McLaren and Sauber sitting 9th and 10th, tailing off the back of the field a little bit further back from the rest. But we are into qualifying now. We just get the screen up so everyone can see. You can see everyone out going out onto the circuit, people starting their flying laps. We'll see as we go through the next 15 minutes and 20 seconds what is in store for us. We're going to go on with my audio very much. Where's my audio? Yeah, that works. Gabriel Amato is running down towards turn 1. What can we see from the McLaren driver as they go into turn 1? I think that's a bit loud. Yeah, I forgot to change my audio. Gabriel Amato going through into the first chicane, and does it feel nice? A little bit of a lock up there on the exit. So you now run down towards turn 4, the end of sector 1. We need a bit of telemetry up to 28.0 in the first sector. We're going to keep the track map on. We're going to keep that off for now. As we now go through sector 2 into turn 6 and 7, now running down towards turn 8 and 9. Through turn 8 and 9 through the S's now. Very difficult to get right. It's slightly in comparison to the to real life. It is slightly different at the exit as well. I think that's due to how the game's been made, but it is it's even faster than what it is in real life. Through sector 3 now into the stadium section. Very difficult to get right. Very slow speed. A lot of time can be gained or lost there due to its slow speed nature. You're trying to manage that car, manage the car, try and get it thrown through the corners. This is not compliant in slower speed as it is in the higher speeds. This generation of cars at 14.4 from Gabriel Amato, while his teammate Stephen Vasso goes fastest of 13.5 ahead of Nelson Alves of 13.7 and Tamas Kokone with 13.8, as well as Jensen Rosen, the only 4 drivers in the 1 minute 13s. We've still got half the grid yet to go and complete a lap, such as Pascal McLean Ranelli now with 13.5, goes 400ths quicker than Stephen Vasso in the McLaren, while the rest of the field continue to set laps. Sergio Sabrino has started a flying lap. We will see, I believe, Lucas Shea go around and he's invalidated. We'll see someone else. Lorenz Patton goes P9 this time. Lucas Shea is restarting his flying lap. So it will be Sergio Sabrino, who's the next driver to go cross that line. A ton of oversteer, a ton of wheel spin off the exit of the chicane, just keeping it in the white lines and just keeping it all together. I'd say that he will lost a lot of time there. As hello everyone in the chat as we all start rolling in now. That is looks like a fairly big a big loss there, big moment there as we go 59.8 into the first 2 sectors. Well, through to final sector we go. Oh my days, what a fuck. Oh my god. Well, it's all sorts of oversteer there from Sergio Sabrino, and he's definitely not setting a fastest time. He's just drifting around the circuit, wasting a set of soft compound of tyres in the end. So he will not be setting a lap, and he's run round and got reset the track. So he'll have to go around again. That is that Mercedes will not be happy that after their interesting interpretation of their what their rear wheels should be doing. So the next driver across the line will be Lucas Shea, but he has validated Valtteri Steg. I think he's starting. Well, both the horses are starting the flying laps, whichever one it is. It's Tony Hertella who's just started the flying lap. The Red Bull comes into the pit lane. Angelo D'Ortenzio is the next driver to cross the line. He's invalidated as well. So you see, as some of these drivers haven't even started or even set a fast flying lap. Some of the drivers are already going out for the potential second run, we see, as we see little Thomas Laminen, currently P7, 14-0, going all out already for his second run of the session. Can the Alpine do himself get himself up towards the front of the field? Bear in mind that we still have 7 drivers without a lap time. As we go to stay on with Angelo D'Ortenzio for a moment, but he's on the hard compound of tyres, so we will stick with the soft runner of Tony Hertella and Valtteri Steg, the 2 Haas drivers currently on flying laps on the soft compound of tyres, as Tony Hertella invalidates, so we will not continue on with him. We will stay on with Valtteri Steg, see if he can manage to stay in the white lines as the Haases wind their way through the S's of Mexico, and we go through towards the exit. It does nicely there. They're staying the white lines, a 55-1 in the first 2 sectors combined, a fastest sector 2 nonetheless, and he goes wide, but he keeps himself slow enough so he doesn't get invalidation. Is that going to prove costly though? Because he's going to have to have lost a fair bit of time there. Round the final corner, up towards the line, and across the line, he goes a 14-0, V7 there. But what could it be for Valtteri Steg if he didn't go over that white line? If he lost time, he might have lost maybe a 10th or 2. If not more. We see a couple of drivers like Angelo D'Ortenzio, 18-1 for him. As we see, yeah, that is his practice now, I guess. It is for Angelo on the hard compound of tyres. He's probably doing race trim laps, I guess. I presume so. I mean, he's doing 18 runs, which is quite similar to what he'll be doing in the race. So I guess that's, I mean, it's an interesting interpretation of your practice, how to use a qualifying, but at the end of the day, it's not entirely out of the rule book. It's just whether you want to be using your literal moments where you could be setting good times in qualifying, unless you have so much, you have such an idea that you're going to do it in one run and done. But we'll see what Angelo D'Ortenzio can do later in the session. Then we've got a couple of drivers still out on track. Thomas Laminen is the next driver who'll cross line, but he's invalidated, so we will not see him set a faster lap time. Who is going to be the next driver to cross the line? It will be no one who is on a lap other than Angelo D'Ortenzio. So continue on as Thomas Laminen comes into the pit lane. We're going to see Richard Sporgis. I think that, yeah, we're going to go that way. He's invalidated, so it don't matter anyway. So who is the next driver to start a lap? It'll be Jensen Rosen, who is starting the flying lap in the Williams liveried Golf team livery, I should say. The Golf team livery Williams special livery that was used as a one-off earlier in the season. It is now being used by Jensen Rosen for this race. Whether he uses it, he's going to continue to use it, or if he's just using it today, we'll see. As the Williams now up through towards the end of sector 1, a 27.7 in the first sector, half a tenth up from what he done previously according to our track map of fastest sector 1. We'll see whether that remains proven. Through sector 2 now into the double right-hander, sorry, as we now go running down towards the S's. Start the S's with a left and a right. You just got to keep it as tight and as flat as possible, and just keep it as fast as possible. You got to make sure you hit all those apexes and a little bit more. Run as close to those white lines as you physically can to maximise your time. 54.9 with just over a tenth up in his first 2 sectors. Can he get it right in the final sector though? Through the castle, stadium section. Now, I almost got it, the castle section. The stadium section now as we run round towards the final corner. Up towards the line. He goes a 13.6 P3, but only a tenth and a half off of Pascal Ranelli, who's done an excellent job in their first lap. What a good time by the Williams. However, people will be trying to top that in their second runs also. We will see as the next driver to cross the line, maybe Tom Roberts. No, it will be Lucas Shea who starts the lap. The Alpine, which Alpine is it? It will be either on the outlap. So it will be Tom Roberts, who is the next driver to cross the line and start a flying lap in the Mystery Machine Salvo, who's also got a special livery on. Everyone decided to use their special livery since we can use them now in multiplayer sessions. Oh, and that's into the wall! And that could have ended poorly for the Salvo as Tom Roberts clips the wall on the inside. I think it loaded over. Sergio Sabrino goes past him a 13.5. 100th quicker than the Mercedes. Meanwhile, the Ferrari starts a flying lap, I believe. I think that's Angelo Tortenzio who's on flying laps, so never mind. It will be Gabriel Amato, who is the next driver to cross the line. He's currently half a tenth up in the first 2 sectors. Around that final corner we go. Just got to get the power down a bit less lively than what we saw from Tom Roberts. And he goes to the line for 14.3. He sits himself still in P13. Who is our next driver to cross the line? It will be... Christ, there's a few drivers. Lucas Shea, who will be the next active driver to cross the line on a lap time. 54.9 in the first 2 sectors, up towards the line. What does he do? He goes for 13.7, puts himself right next above his teammate Tom Roberts into P6, and just hundredths clear of the other Mystery Machine. The next driver to cross the line will be, I think that might have been the Ren's pattern, I'm not sure, as the Mercedes of Sergio Sabrino has already done it on the lap. It will be one of the Williams next, I believe, of Nelson Alves, who is currently on an in-lap, so we will not worry about him too much. Is that Thomas Courtenay? He is going very slowly through the castle section and deciding he wants to do a bit of drifting. Sergio Sabrino, clearly happy enough with his lap, has decided to retire from the session. And with P2, while Pascal Ranelli sits himself on pole position with a 13.4 by the Ferrari and provisional pole position, and that is a 10th clear of what the Mercedes has done. And at the moment we're seeing quite significant gaps between the drivers right now, as Pascal Ranelli does himself a solid vote there by jumping himself further and further away from the field. A tenth and a half now from his next closest rival, who can set another lap, which is Stephen Basso, who's currently invalidated on his lap, so he will be entering the pit lane. I presume he entered the pit lane quite abruptly there as we go into the next bit. I'm quicker than Angelo right now. Oh well, I mean, see what the Angelo D'Ortenzio can do, because he has been running those hards. I mean, he might just want to try and... he's still practicing, by the way, ladies and gentlemen. He's still practicing on those hards. How much fuel has this man got left? I won't go on to his onboard because I'll keep it a little bit more unique. But if he's got 4 minutes left in the session, lads, he's got to try and get this one sorted, because otherwise he will not end up with a time at the end of this. Forte Stig is currently not on a lap. It'll be Alexi Cavero, who is currently flying through sector 3. I believe is on a lap. The RB, can they manage better than P12 as we go into the final corner, as the rest of the field start to come out for one of the drivers come out for their final run. It will be 3 tenths quicker than a P9 for Alexi Cavero, puts himself right with his teammate and right in the thick of things of 5 drivers within a tenth of one another. Actually, let's make that 5 drivers from Lucas Shea all the way down to Fortet Steg, it from P6 to P10. Very close in that midfield portion of the grid. We'll continue on with Angelo D'Ortenzio for a minute, because this man is been going around for yet another lap. Going for a 17.4. He's improved on those hard tyres. The Ferrari has decided he wants to continue to put in more and more practice runs, despite literally there being 2 minutes left in the session. I think he's gonna have to. I think he's not gonna be able to get a proper full lap in, unfortunately, for this man. But he's decided he's got his practice in the 18 minutes he's had in this qualifying session. Well, I guess that is one way to do practice, but I mean, you're not going to be wanting to start from the back of the grid in a track where dirty air is quite apparent. Engine temperatures become quite apparent as well due to the altitude of the circuit. The wind. Not the wind. The air is much thinner in this part of the world. As oh my god, he's had a collision with the Williams. He's now getting himself all sorts of involved with a couple of the other drivers on their outlaps as we now continue on through. Who is going to be the first to set a lap? It will be Tom Roberts who go. Sorry, it's now got Tom Roberts who is going to start a flying lap into turn 1. There we go, and he doesn't start flying. He's going to go for another outlap, so a double outlap there for the Sauber driver, who is going to be the first driver to cross the line and start a flying lap. It will be Thomas Cockney, who is going to go round to start a flying lap, so we'll stay with him. Or is he going to go for another outlap? He's going for another outlap. Is there going to be someone who isn't going for an outlap? It might be who is it? Tom Roberts here. We're going to see Tony, mate. Is Tony going for a lap now? Yes, he is. Tony is going to be our first driver to go for it. Tony Hertella is going to go run down towards turn 1. Can the Haas get himself out of the last place position and put himself right up towards the front end of the field? He hasn't set a lap yet. What time can the Haas manage to do as we run down towards the end of sector 1? It is a 27.6 in the first sector, fastest sector 1 according to our timesheets. Whether that is true or not will have to remain to be seen. Through sector 2 we go. 4, 5 look quite nice into turn 5 and 6. Kept it nicely in the white lines, but just on the edge of the track limits, skirting the white line now as we go through the S's. We power on through before darting through towards the end of sector 2 and start of sector 3. It is going to be a 54.7 in the first 2 sectors. That RB pulls himself out of the way. He's got no traffic towards the end of this lap. It is all balls to the wall now as we go through the stadium section and up towards the final corner. Switches it into that final corner. Keep it nice and tight now up towards the line. Minimise the distance to the line. A 13.5 by Tony. Yeah, Della puts himself P2, but not fast enough to go against Pascal Ranelli. The next few drivers come across the line to start flying laps as all of these drivers continue on. Who's the next driver to cross the line? It may be Stephen Vasso, who's currently half a tenth down in their first 2 sectors as both Pascal Ranelli and Tony Hertella start from the session. Apparently P1, 2 and 3 all retired. Nelson Alves, P5, 13.6. Can anyone improve and jump into the end? Just improved by Stephen Vasso, but not enough to improve his position of 13.5 is all he's got. His next drive across the line, it'll be Lucas Shear for 13.7. The next one after that will be Jensen Rosen, who starts on lap as Lorenz Patton retires from session in the pit lane. Up towards the line, he doesn't go quicker and he's down in his time and he sits himself in P6 for now. Can Vortestig beat any time here? He's currently 100th down in the first 2 sectors. Is there going to be any more improvement? A half a tenth quicker, cuts himself to P8, 13.8, jumps Tom Roberts to get into the top 8, just behind Lucas Shear as well. Who is the next driver to cross the line? It'll be Tamas Cockney, who hasn't improved. He has invalidated his time. He'll be stuck down in P10, and that is qualifying over. That is Pascal Ranelli taking pole position for the Mexican Grand Prix and got 36 laps ahead of him with pole position, but can he hold on? 3 drivers within a tenth of one another by the end of that. However, a long run to turn 1, so anyone can play the game. Can anyone top it? Can anyone who can take the lead into turn 1 and who can lead the race and take race victory by the end of 36 laps? And that is qualifying over. Pascal Ranelli to the top of the giant tree. Tony Hertella, Sergio Sabrino, Stephen Vasso, and hold on. Steve Vasso, Nelson Alves, Jensen Rosen, Lee Shea, Volta Stig, Tom Roberts, and Thomas Cockney round out our top 10. And that is qualifying over for us. And we're about to get going for racing. It is now a very crucial time. What do these drivers do for strategy? Everyone will be selected onto the medium compound of tyres. It'll be interesting to see where Angelo D'Ortenzio manages to go from C17. Can he go from that to and use those laps of practice he used in qualifying? Can he use that to his advantage for the race? Because all these drivers got to get themselves sorted, got to get themselves prepped for the 5 red lights of 36 laps that await us. And we have got an exciting 36 laps that await us. Who can come out on top? It'll be... it could be any... At the end of the day, this is a very close field. But anyone who goes against, say, Pascal Ranelli after a very good qualifying performance. Same with Tony Teller and Sergio Sabrino. A very top 3. Put in their times. Tony Hirtella did it late on, but Pascal Ranelli and Sergio Sabrino did their times quite a couple minutes earlier, so not at peak track conditions. So anyone who votes against them, certainly we'll see things the other way. But qualifying is one thing, race is another. Everyone will be starting on the medium compound of tyres for the 36 laps that lay ahead of us. What sort of strategy will we see from these drivers? We'll have to wait and see. That's the 18 car field. Line up on the grid now to go to 3, 4, 5 red lights for the Mexican Grand Prix. Round 8 of EXA Division 1, Season 10. And it's lights out. And away we go. Pascal Ranelli gets a decent start, but Tony Teller's right alongside him. They're going to continue to go side by side as we go rounding down towards turn 1. As Sergio Sabrino is in the slipstream of the Ferrari. Can he make the move stick to the inside? Make it 3 wide into turn 1. Not quite. It's Tony Teller. Has taken the lead straight off the bat. He manages to get ahead of the Scuderia, but he's not going to be enough as Pascal Ranelli. He's going to get right on the back of him. So is Sergio Sabrino right on the back of the Italian marquee. As we go into the second chicane, Tony Teller manages to keep the lead for now, but there's still side-by-side action further back as we see the Williams and the Sauber, as you see the Haas and the other Sauber and the 2 RBs go 2 by 2 by 2 like it's Noah's Ark. And we go continuing on throughout the rest of the lap, we're going to continue to see as Lucas Shea gets ahead of Jensen Rosen, Dante Stick gets ahead of Tom Roberts and EXA X1, and Thomas gets ahead of Thomas Cockney. Thomas Laminem jumps, and Nelson Alves jump ahead. There's quite a bit of someone has spun right down to the back of the grid. It is Nelson Alves, who is DNF from the session right at the start of this session. Thomas and Alberto Barros also caught up in that, but there's also a bit more chaos further down up the field. We're going to see, as we see an RB off the road, we see the Alpine off the road. Tom Roberts and Alberto Barros also caught up in that. Thomas Cockney, I believe, also caught up in that. He'd gone off the circuit at the stadium section. Tom Roberts retires from the section straight off the bat, and Thomas Cockney has almost ended his race in the wall. Tony Hirtella, Pascal Ranelli, Sergio Sabrino lead the way though, while Stephen Vasso, Lucas Shea, Jensen Rosen are in P4, 5 and 6, Volta Stig, Alexis Cavero, Gabriel Mato and Angelo D'Ortenzio, who started right down the back of the grid, has made his way into the top 10 already. He continues to be on a charge. He's trying to make his way by the McLaren as he's ghosting at this moment in time. It's the Red Bulls and the Aston Martin fight behind him. As Richard Sporgis managed to jump ahead of Lorenz Patton into P12, while Gabriel Condino, who's in P11, who started in P18, bear in mind, has also followed Angelo D'Ortenzio through in those first lap and a half. Can Angelo D'Ortenzio do anything against Gabriel Mato? Can't do anything at this moment in time as the field files through Sector 2. into sector 3, it is going to continue to be a battle as we see a dive bomb from Gabriel Mato on both Alexa Cavero and Valdez Steg. That's a bit of, I think there was either a bit of damage or that was the apex that's the apex cone. So we're going to continue on, but Gabriel Mato's moved his way up to P8 ahead of Alexa Cavero. Meanwhile, Angelo D'Ortenzio is right on the back of him. They are snaking down the straight and they earn each other's slipstream. Meanwhile, Angelo D'Ortenzio immediately battling out, trying to keep the engine temps under tight contact between Valdez Steg and the Williams in front. That extends the half round, but we as Jensen Rosen manages to continue on. I think that's quite a late dive, but he continues on anyway. Gabriel Mato and Alexi Cavero still side by side as we go into the second chicane. Bit of a lock up there for the McLaren. That's going to cost him because around the outside it turns for the RB to take in P7. Well, Angelo D'Ortenzio jumps ahead of Gabriel Mato. A number of drivers file through. The McLaren, the Papaya car, is severely struggling at this point and has dropped down a hell of a load of positions. And he's about to drop down another one because here comes Tomalos Navarren as the Alpine is trying to find a way by, but was the last of that train and could not find a way by immediately. DRS though for the Alpine fighting to the outside. Can he make the move stick? Not quite there as Gabriel Mato throws himself off the road to try and keep that position, and he is struggling quite severely at the moment. We now go back to the front of the field. We see Tony Hirtella lead the way by 6/10 of a second over Pascal Ranelli, Sergio Sabrino and Stephen Vasso. Well, Nico Shia, and we see Angelo D'Ortenzio move up to P7 ahead of Alexi Cavero. The Ferrari, in the space of just over 3 laps, has moved his way from P17 to P7. Can he continue on this charge? We're going to go through the exit of turn 1, 2 and 3 and now run down towards turn 4. DRS for the Ferrari. There's DRS for the whole entire field as they try and find clean air. Dive bomb up the inside. There goes Gabriel Cordino as he tries to get past Alex Cavero, tries to make the cutback, didn't get enough, got the contact with the back of the RB, and he continues on through the end of the lap. We're going to continue to see the battling between Thomas Laminen and Gabriel Mato as Thomas Laminen has been desperately trying to find a way past. He does fly in the way past, but he throws himself off the car. He gets a 3-second time penalty, and I think there was a bit of contact there, and I think that was out of pure frustration from the Alpine to get past Gabriel Mato, who did seemingly force him off the road about a lap or so earlier, and or didn't give him enough space that he felt entitled to at the very least, as the field snakes through the stadium section as Thomas Laminen now P12 with our first 3-second time penalty of the session. Can he try and catch the rest of the field and make that and I hope that 3-second time penalty kind of disappears as others get penalties. We're going to see the rest of the field start to make inroads with each other. Angelo D'Ortenzio picks up another victim on his checklist. As diving up the inside makes the move stick via DRS. Meanwhile, diving up the inside is Alex Cavero trying to make a move past on Jensen Rosen, but doesn't make it quite work. Jensen Rosen keeps the position at this time. He's going to continue to run down as we go in towards turn 4. Angelo D'Ortenzio just continuing to hound the field and showing his pace, that race pace session in qualifying, just to try and get some practice in. Is certainly beginning to pay off because he looks like he has been the class of the field at the moment in terms of pace. He is passing and slicing through the field. Certainly set up this car but much more for the race in not even at all in terms of qualifying load. Gabriel Mato gets a 3-second time penalty for his troubles, and so does Lorenz Patton as well. Becomes the second and third driver to get their time penalties. As meanwhile, Angelo D'Ortenzio biding his time, trying to make a move stick. Off puts Lucas Shea. Can he make the move stick into the final breaking point? No, he can't, as he is going to get himself set up for the next part of the straight. As we go, DRS will be enabled right about now for the Ferrari. Is he going to use his any sort of overtake, or is he going to sit off by? He's going to use the time to try and manage the engine. He continues on though into P6, and he is right at the back of the Sauber. The mystery machine has got to do some defending once that Ferrari is all prepared to make an overtake. Is there going to be any opportunity here for the Scuderia? He's going to dive it up the inside later on the brakes in comparison to the mystery machine. Can he make the move stick? He's going to go around has to be around the outside for the next couple of corners, but he does. He runs himself with a bit of extra ERS boost through the rest of that run and gets himself into the top 5 already. The Ferrari is absolutely flying right now, and it is an absolute masterclass by the Scuderia. Meanwhile, Tony Teller leads the way ahead of the other Ferrari of Pascal Ranelli, Sergio Sabrino, Steven Vasso, and then Angelo D'Ortenzio, who is flying through. He seems to have everything sorted out right now. He sends himself to the outside of Steven Vasso. He tries to make the move around the outside, doesn't quite make it work, but he certainly off-puts Steven Vasso, lets him know that he is there, because he's going to be coming by in any matter of moment. And we're going to see side-by-side action further back between Gabriel Contino and Jenson Rosen. Jenson Rosen managing to defend temporarily against Aston Martin, but he's going to both have DRS as they go flying down the straight towards turn 1, as the top guys continue to remain line astern. Around the outside goes Gabriel Contino. Can he make the move? Stick it. Turn to the inside though for Jenson Rosen, which makes the massive difference. Damage for the Aston Martin though, as he makes the cut back on the inside of the Williams. Can he make it to the out? He made it again, the outside line into turn 5, but he'll turn to the inside line for the next sequence of corners. Is that going to pay dividends, or is the run going to pay dividends for the Williams, as they still go side by side through sector 2, and Aston Martin is trying everything to get past Jenson Rosen, but Jenson Rosen isn't giving up. They go into the left-hander that kicks off the S's, and that is what says and does the job. And a bit of a mistake there for Angelo D'Ortenzio. He is round and he is falling down the field, and that is very unfortunate for the Ferrari, who seemingly had the race pace and is now right back down in P11, P12, fighting his way with Thomas Laminen, and that is very unfortunate for the Ferrari. I don't there was any sort of contact, but I think he might have really set up his car to be too harsh at this moment in time. Sergio Sabrino, 10-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. And I'm not sure why he's gone on and retired from session. If there was any sort of thing that happened, maybe with Angelo D'Ortenzio, but there was a car between them as well. So Sergio Sabrino, who was running in the podium places, is out of this race. The Red Bull of Lorenz Patton is trying to fight off Angelo D'Ortenzio yet again. Angelo D'Ortenzio giving him enough room, but D'Ortenzio is just trying to make his way back through the field after a costly mistake that just sent him back down to start all over again. He's back up into P9. Thomas Laminen is trying to make his move around the outside, as the Red Bull is trying to keep a defence of his top 10 position, and he does so as the Alpine has to back off and survive. And the Red Bull's 10th place survives another day. We now go into sector 3. It is Pascal Ranelli. He was actually jumped ahead of Tony Teller. We see a couple of the other drivers having issues. Maybe that was the cause of Sergio Sabrino's retirement. But Pascal Ranelli moves ahead of Tony Teller within the last lap. Steven Vasso P3, Lucas Shear P4, Jenson Rosen P5, Gabriel Contino P6, Alex Cavera P7, Richard Sporagis in P8, P9 for Angelo D'Ortenzio and Lorenz Patton in rounding out the top 10. There's a lot of action going on here tonight, so it is just all guns blazing. It's expecting the front end of the field to remain fairly quiet, other than Angelo D'Ortenzio's climb through the field due to them just managing sitting behind one another for a lot of this first part of this race. Pascal Ranelli going to continue to lead now though. It started on pole, lost it to Tony Teller, gained it back, and now Tony Teller is gonna have to try and be the hunter now instead of the hunted, as the gaps in the field begin to open up. DRS has been broken from the top 2 to Steven Vasso, Lucas Shear, and Steven Vasso have also broken DRS to Jenson Rosen. Gabriel Contino's behind him, while Alex Cavero, Richard Sporagis, and Angelo D'Ortenzio, Lorenz Patton, Thomas Laminen are the next group behind them. But DRS is certainly going to play a factor in this race as the field begins to quieten down. Is there going to be any movement from further back? We're going to see maybe a bit of movement from the Ferrari, who is being the highlight reel in terms of trying to make passes while Gabriel Cadino also makes his way by against Jensen Rosen. Bottas gets a 3-second time penalty for his troubles. The Aston Martin of Gabriel Cadino, with damage by the way, has moved his way up the P5. Jensen Rosen finally losing out on that position against the Aston Martin after an excellent battle between them a couple laps earlier. We now go through the through lap 10 and through sector 2. Can the Aston Martin manage themselves enough to just try to get himself away from Jensen Rosen and catch up back up to the top 4 positions? It's going to be a difficult task of how close this field is. However, Gabriel Cadino is going to be trying to do that even more so with a bit of damage to that front wing. Whether it is affecting him severely or not, it is still damage nonetheless. As in comes the pit lane, comes Stephen Vasso, the McLaren, making his way through the pit lane now after running in P3 after Sergio Sabrino's retirement. And meanwhile, we're going to see Jensen Rosen move his way back by Gabriel Cadino with the assistance of DRS. No major fight there from the Aston Martin as the Williams continues into P4. And at the moment, we see everyone just managing their tyres and managing what sort of strategy they're on now. We are on lap 11 of 36. And at the moment, it is looking like some of these drivers it is now looking like these drivers are going into management mode as we continue on through the rest of this race. We're going to see, as we look at the pit stops, top 8 yet to pit. The rest of the field have done so. 3-second time penalty for Lorenz Patton, who I think already had a time penalty. Yeah, he's now under 6 seconds worth of penalties on lap 11. Very difficult race this is for track limits. Tony Adela moves into the pit lane for the Haas team, and he's the first of the top 2 to come into the pit lane. Our Pascal McLean-Brunelli continues his way in the lead. We're going to go and see the Aston Martin continue his charge of trying to get back past Jensen Rosen yet again. Jensen Rosen keeping ahead this time. No sort of DRS swapping at this moment. Oh wow, Andrew D'Ortenzio is looming in the background. 1.1 seconds is now the gap. 14 positions gained from Gabriel Cadino, 12 positions gained from Andrew D'Ortenzio. And at this stage, it is the case of how much is what happened earlier in the S's for Andrew D'Ortenzio going to cost him? Is it going to end up being him losing out on a race win potentially, or is it going to be him losing out on either the podium, or will he manage to come back? And his pace is clearly there, but for how much longer? He's got a significant hill to climb at this stage as Pascal Ranelli, Lucas Shea enter the pit lane. So does Jensen Rosen, leaving Gabriel Contino and Andrea D'Ortenzio leading this race. DRS for the Aston Martin and the Ferrari as we pass the DRS detection point in the 1 second window of Jensen Rosen. And at the moment, we're going to continue through the rest of this lap with these two trying to do an overcut potentially, trying to manage their tyres and try and bring them back into it later in the race with fresher rubber than what the other drivers have managed will have by the end of the race. Some of these drivers have pitted at least 4 laps ago. Vortex Steg and Gabriel Mato those two drivers. Thomas Cockney has been on those hards for 11 laps after his lap one incident with a couple of the drivers. So he sits on those tyres. for a fair bit longer, so he'll have to come in again and drop himself back to the back of the field. Thomas Lamb then becomes the next driver to get a 3-second time penalty. We continue on now as Angelo D'Ortenzio comes into the pit lane, so that leaves Gabriel Cordino, the only man without pit to get to pit. Well, Tony Hietala retakes the provisional lead because he has come out ahead and jumped ahead of Pascal Ranelli in the pit stop phases, but will have 1 lap older tyres. Tony Hietala is now going to have to be defending once more against Pascal Ranelli as the rest of the field begins to cycle through their pit stop window, and at the moment is now going to continue on. Gabriel Amato and Jenson Rosen in the fights. The McLaren and the Williams come out side by side. Jenson Rosen looks to have the upper hand in terms of getting the run, but he's going to have the outside line into turn 4 as Gabriel Amato tries to push him as wide as possible. He doesn't have quite control of his car, and Jenson Rosen's having absolutely none of it and gets ahead of the McLaren for the final for the top 10 position. And Jenson Rosen is now going to try and use the undercut to get ahead of Gabriel Cordino by an extra little bit of a margin. He currently sits in P10, but Tamak Cockney will need to come into the pit lane. Gabriel Cordino leads to goes on for another lap. Only here Teller, Pascal Ranelli are going to be again fighting very soon. Stephen Vasso, Lucas Stier, Voltesteg, Alex Guerrero all in that fight as well, but Voltesteg does have a time penalty, which could be very well costly at the end of this race as the field run themselves down towards turn 1 and continue on through the rest of this rest of the lap DRS for the Ferrari and the trailing field, but nothing will be done at this stage as the drivers just manage themselves and manage and just try and get their tyres in the right operating window and try and conserve them for the majority of this race. They do not want to be doing another stop. They do not want to be use up too much of their tyres so that by the end of the race they end up with nothing left in comparison to their rivals who have been managing, and that is the crucial factor in this scenario. Again, another issue with both the game and modern F1 is tyre management. Another reason why refueling is another thing we may need to bring back. But we're going to see Gabriel Cordino come into the pit lane and be the last driver to serve their mandatory pit stop. The Aston Martin will come out further down the field. And fairly far down the field. I think he's changed his front wing as well. So he ends up now with a fairly large tyre offset, but a massive gap to climb. Tony Hietala gonna continue on in this race as Lorenz Patton comes into the pit lane to retire. And at this stage, in the race, it is all about management, and it's all about just bringing the car into the most optimal operating window where the least is going to go wrong. An optimised amount of ERS usage, an optimised engine temp, an optimised tyre wear rate, as well as making sure the car just flows nicely. You are in the zone. You've got it is like a dance with the car in F1. You've got to make sure you just manage it nicely, dance through the corners, keep it nice and tidy. Because at the end of the day, one wrong move and it could be the most costly move you ever make in this race. And we go round towards the end of lap 17 and the end of lap 16 to start lap 17. We are almost halfway distance of the race. We say that with a bold heart. We've still got a long way to go in this one. And a lot has settled down at the moment. Tony Hietala, Pascal Ranelli, Stephen Vasso, Lucas Shea, Voltesteg, Alexa Guerrero, Thomas Damanen, Jenson Rosen, Angelo D'Ortenzio, Damas Goganes, Gabriel Mato, Ricard Borges, Gabriel Cordino, and Alberto Barros are well, Alberto Barros actually is left the session. He's ghosted, so the top 13 still in this race. Thomas Laminen and Angelo D'Ortenzio fighting it out though. Angelo D'Ortenzio looking to try and get himself up into P7, and he does so. Moves past Thomas Laminen at this moment in time. I didn't realise Angelo 3 seconds. Yeah, he does, and 9 seconds for Thomas. That is very, very difficult to get by with. Angelo D'Ortenzio still trying to move up in this and try and move his way back up the field. He's still in the lead. DRS trainers diving up the inside into the same section and makes that move stick quite quickly, passing Alexa Cavero. Not really finding a second, giving him a second opportunity to try and get back by, or giving him an opportunity to defend. And the Ferrari moves up to P6 and potentially making that P5 as Bottas then comes under pressure from the Ferrari, who is getting themselves together and really showing up race pace once more. Did qualifying on the hard, so he certainly knows his way about how these tyres handle, and is certainly really showing at the moment. Angelo D'Ortenzio moves himself into P5, 3 positions in the space of 2 laps. It's an excellent job from the Ferrari, who's about to make themselves make a 4th position very, very shortly, as Lucas Shea, he is all over the back of, and Angelo D'Ortenzio is going to really going to have to try and pass the he's going to really put pressure under that mystery machine of Lucas Shea, who is going to really need to start defending. Steven Vasso, Pascal Ranelli and Tony Tiello have got to keep their eyes on their mirrors, because at the moment that Ferrari is flying through this field. Potentially going to maybe look for another move into the hairpin. Is he going to make it move? No. Lucas Shea does the dive himself. Can he make the move stick on Steven Vasso? He couldn't quite do it, but that's allowed Angelo D'Ortenzio to try and make a move past the mystery machine and the papaya car as we go. It is orange, green and red as we go down towards turn 1. Can the McLaren defend against the Sauber and the Ferrari? As to the outside goes Lucas Shea. Can he make the move stick on Steven Vasso? He's not quite made the move there. He's going to continue through the chicane as they're going to push each other wide, as they continue to push each other over the edge. And Angelo D'Ortenzio looks to pick up the scraps here, passing the Sauber, and potentially looking to go round the outside of the McLaren. Can he make the move stick, or is it going to be too late, or is he going to make it? He keeps himself nice and tight there on the exit, keeps Steven Vasso on the edge of the white line, and he manages to make his way by and moves his way up into the final podium spot. That is excellent stuff from the McLaren, from the Ferrari, and moves up to P3. And now it's Pascal Ranelli, who is in his sights. His teammate is in his sights. And this is the opportunity for all these drivers today. You've got to remember, which you haven't really spoken about, the man Diego Zorzo is not in this session. He is not here tonight. Can the Mercedes, yes, will leave here the championship leader, whatever happens here tonight. But who leaves here second? Who leaves here the closest rival to the Mercedes, with only 3 rounds left after this when we go into the new year? And Angelo D'Ortenzio is now going to have the opportunity to try and move his way into P2, diving up the inside massively late on the brakes by Lucas Shea. That was ballsy, that made it stick, and he moves up there. Steven Vasso is out of the race. What's happened to Steven Vasso? Oh, there we go. What has happened to Steven Vasso? He's retired at the end of that one. After that move from Lucas Shea, he has decided to retire from the race quite abruptly there. As Gabriel Mato actually retired only a lap earlier. Both the McLarens have retired, so that leaves us with 11 running drivers left. I'm quite surprised Steven Vasso retired so suddenly there. Yeah, so we now continue on. Tony Teller, Pascal Ranelli, Angelo D'Ortenzio moves his way by. I'm going to keep an eye on what has happened here. Yeah, not exactly sure why Steven Vasso retired so suddenly. We continue on. There clearly wasn't any sort of significant damage, because we continue on without any sort of issue. Tony Teller, Pascal Ranelli, Andrea D'Ortenzio is going to be maybe making his way by his Ferrari teammate next. Currently, 10 drivers with Ian D. Oh well, 8 drivers within DRS to each other. 2 other drivers further back, and then Tamas Gokani a fair bit behind, but he still gets points at the end of this race when he finishes. Due to the around the outside, here goes Andrea D'Ortenzio trying to make a move past Pascal Ranelli. While Pascal Ranelli was setting his sights on Tony Atella, it's like going to be the opportunity for the Scuderia of D'Ortenzio to make his way past Ranelli. Ranelli trying everything. He's a pole sitter. He's trying to defend against his teammate. Is that going to be the opportunity? It's around the outside. Goes D'Ortenzio, keeps it in the white lines. Excellent stuff there from the Scuderia and moves up to P2. Pascal Ranelli settles down for P3, but is there going to be an opportunity there for Ranelli to get his way back by? Is he going to make any sort of move here? Not quite. As we go through the towards the stadium section, as at the moment he's going to continue into the exit final corner. D'Ortenzio, as D'Ortenzio moves around the final corner, and to start lap 22 out of 36, sorry, D'Ortenzio has the opportunity to pick up the victory here. As I'm looking at Pascal Ranelli trying to make his way by, he can't do anything at this stage, but we're going to continue on through sector towards the end of sector 1. As here we go, Pascal Ranelli looks to make the move up the inside of D'Ortenzio. D'Ortenzio, the Ferraris, the Scuderias, really fighting it hard. As D'Ortenzio managed to defend that one, Della really licking his lips at this stage, because at the moment D'Ortenzio, despite having the pace advantage, he does have that time penalty of 3. It is only 3 seconds, but that is crucial to try and put away, especially when your drivers are so close on pace. And we're going to go through towards the final corner. Can D'Ortenzio, can Hietella, who can take it? Can D'Ortenzio pass Hietella, or will Hietella manage to keep track of it? But here comes Ranelli, who is right on the back of his Ferrari teammate to the inside. Can Ranelli make his way back by and retake P2 to the inside? He does. He doesn't. He decides to back out that one. It's Lucas Shea manages to keep himself in P4. It's a moment they're really on the back, and they might be looking at an opportunity to try and find their way by. But all 3 drivers, if anything comes of it, if there's any opportunity to make their way past with 13 laps to go, we have currently got 7 drivers still fighting it out for victory. And at the moment, D'Ortenzio really looking to try and make everyone's life a bit more harder, because Pascal Ranelli and Hoya Hietella, who have been at the front since the start of the race, are really trying to make sure that they possess the whole possession of this back race lead. But D'Ortenzio is really trying to make sure that he really shuffles the pack today, really shuffles the deck. And at the moment, D'Ortenzio is all over the back of Hietella as we go round the final corner and onto the main straight. Lap 24 has been started. 23 laps elapsed. 24. Is it D'Ortenzio's time to make his way to the race lead, to the outside? D'Ortenzio is forced to go, while Hietella to the inside. It doesn't matter though. D'Ortenzio takes the lead of the Mexican Grand Prix on lap 24, and the Ferrari, who has started in P17, moves his way into P1 and is not going to be over yet, because they're out on the outside. Goes Pascal Ranelli trying to make a move stick. Contact there, Tony Hietella, as he tries to defend from Ranelli, and that has cost him, because he broke a bit too late, and that has forced him right down to P8. He tried to defend from Ranelli, missed his opportunity, and hit into D'Ortenzio, spinning himself round. That is frustration there for Tony Hietella, as that's now led the Ferraris to take the race lead. It is D'Ortenzio, it is Ranelli, it is Lucas Shea, it is Alex Cavero, Thomas Laminen, and Jensen Rosen, Gary Guidino and Tony Hietella, the top now fighting it out within this DRS train. Is there any opportunities left for anyone to take this race win? Because at the moment it is Pascal Magnelli's, as long as he doesn't lose out that DRS window to Angelo D'Ortenzio's. Tony Hietala comes into the pit lane to retire from the session after that incident. Frustration on the mind of the Haas, and we're going to continue on now. Angelo D'Ortenzio, Pascal Magnelli, Lucas Shea, Lex Guevara, Thomas Laminen, Jensen Rosen, Gabriel Godino, Richard Bisporgis, Thomas Cockney, Vogtek Steg are our 10 remaining drivers. Alberto Barros, Ghost Car is still there as well, obviously, as we see battles, a race-long battle between Gabriel Coutinho and Jensen Rosen reignited as we go through the Sector 2 section, as Gabriel Coutinho gets past Jensen Rosen. He is on 3 lap fresher tyres and 5 lap fresher tyres then Alex Guevara and Thomas Laminen up ahead. He's got the fresher tyres of the group of this league group. Is it gonna be enough to make the difference as we now go through towards the castle stadium section, I do mean, and at the moment it is it's still anyone's game to take victory. We see Angelo D'Ortenzio lead the way by 3/4 of a second, but that 3-second time penalty that really throws a spanner in the works. So all these drivers know they need to get past Pascal Magnelli and keep 3 seconds of Angelo D'Ortenzio to take victory. However, Thomas Laminen has just dropped out of DRS of the top 4, and that could be crucial as Gabriel Godino is looking to try and make his way through as well on the fresher compound of tyres. As at the moment it is still all kicking off as Ranelli is just keeping that DRS for D'Ortenzio. D'Ortenzio's managing the race at the moment, but he needs to get away from that 3-second window and try and take if he wants any opportunity of taking his race victory, he needs to get out of the 1 second bracket. He's got ahead of Lucas Shea now in that respect. Just making sure there wasn't another penalty there. It looked like he got very close to that white line. D'Ortenzio though is now 9 tenths out, but he's going to get closed back in again through these 2 DRS zones that are about to come. Parinelli is not going to let this one go lightly, whereas it is now the 2 Scuderias fighting out for race victory. Gabriel Godino moves his way into P5. Faster lap for Thomas Cockney. Vogtek Steg, I think, has also maybe pitted. Yeah, he did pit a couple laps ago. So those 2, I think, are the freshest rubber tyres, but they are a fair bit way back on this field at the moment. They might be able to pick up the pieces of Thomas Laminen's 12-second penalty, 15-second penalty, or 12-second advantage in penalty. That they have over the Alpine. We'll see if that makes a difference. We see as Angelo D'Ortenzio is in use to pull, and Pascal Magnelli continue to pull the gap to Lucas Shea and Alex Guevara. At the moment, the Ferraris though look to be in position inverted by the end of this race, because whether if they can manage to pull the gap of 3 seconds to Lucas Shea for D'Ortenzio, then Ranelli will win the race and D'Ortenzio gets second. But at the moment it is a gap that is still dropping the Ferrari down to P4, P5 potentially, with Gabriel Godino looking to try and make his way into P4. He is still not out of this one yet. The man who had damage, who pitted earlier in this race, went really long on his tyres, has certainly come alive in this one. He pitted to change that front wing. It has made a difference. Guidino is not giving this one up. The man who started in P18 is currently P5. The man who started in P17 has dropped down to P2, letting Pascal Ranelli pass for the lead. And at the moment,
Quintino is the man who has got the opportunity to try and steal it from the Ferraris. Lucas Shea, Alex Guevara, also between them as well. But do they have the tyres left? Well, Gabriel Quintino certainly does. Alex Guevara is trying to do everything he can to defend against the Aston Martin. But for how long can he defend? Not sure. We're going to see. We're going to see as the Aston Martin goes down to turn 1. Is there opportunity for the Aston Martin to the inside? He does make it to the inside, but is Alex Guevara going to manage to fight it? Not quite. As the Aston Martin moves up to P4, as the Gabriel Godino is trying everything he possibly can to try and take this victory off the Ferraris and get his best position possible. Lucas Shea is the next driver to really put himself in between the Aston Martin and the Ferraris. D'Ortenzio has dropped out that 1 second window. Maybe he's used too much of his tyres because now that's allowed Ranelli to pull the gap. But Gabriel Quintino is going to try and fight this one to the bitter end. Lucas Shea 1.9 seconds back off of the Ferrari of D'Ortenzio. Quintino has the opportunity to take the final podium spot away from Lucas Shea, at least on track. And we go on to lap 30 of 36. The Aston Martin not going to be denied at this stage. DRS for Quintino. Here comes the Aston. It takes the position away from the Sauber with a certain grasp on that final podium spot, and into P3 he goes cleanly by before the braking point. And at the moment, into the chicane. Gabriel Quintino looks to try and manage this one now and try and pull away from Lucas Shea and try and catch D'Ortenzio, the Ferrari. Just the two Ferraris are now just the ones left ahead of him. But has Gabriel Quintino got enough time in his life in his tyres depth and enough time, crucially, to make the moves on the Ferraris? The Aston Martin not going to give this one up though. 2.1 seconds is the gap between him and D'Ortenzio, but it seems like that gap is slightly growing right now. We go through towards the end of lap around the final corner, and at the end of lap 30 we start lap 31, and this is now going to be whether Quintino has left enough in his tyres against the Ferraris, or is it too much, or is it too little, too late as well. Time is beginning to run out. He's starting to fall back in terms of pace. I don't know whether that is just because he is trying to manage the battery and get himself set up for a full send in the next couple laps, but it is all about whether that Aston Martin has enough left in himself, enough left in the tyres. It's been a long race for some of these drivers, and it's been up and down the field for two of them. D'Ortenzio and Quintino have been up and down that field like yo-yos at the moment. And they are now sitting in P2 and P3. Which way round do they finish? Does Quintino have enough to put himself to get past D'Ortenzio and then get past Ranelli? Is it going to be enough? They've still got 5 laps remaining. 3 lap fresher tyres compared to Ranelli. 2 lap fresher tyres compared to D'Ortenzio. Quintino is going to have the fresher tyres, but these tyres have been through so much. The cliff has certainly gone away at this stage. Jensen Rosen claims himself a 3-second time penalty, but it doesn't make a difference at the moment as Ricard Sporogis hits in P7 4.3 seconds back, and Williams he's trying to put pressure on Alexa Guevara. However, unable to make a pass at the moment. Meanwhile, it's to the inside. Those D'Ortenzio to make a move. Stick doesn't make anything past there. Ranelli keeps the position for now. Is there going to be opportunity there for the Ferrari in second to get past the Ferrari in first? to the inside. Hortensio goes. Can he make the move stick? Up the inside, not quite there, anything there, but he's going to make the cut back there, trying to make the move stick. Nothing is able to be done as Ranelli places his car almost perfectly as we go round around the S's now. Is there going to be opportunity there for Hortensio to try and get back by, but that's now really cost both of them, because that's allowed Quintino to catch about half a second in the space of about 2 sectors. Is there going to be anything left for the Ferrari as Ranelli goes a bit wide there? We're going to continue on with the rest of this lap. You can see how stiff these generation of cars are. Quintino's got a 3-second time penalty. That's put him in on the same line as Hortensio, and now that's put Ranelli at prime position to take victory. He's got the gap. He's got to the rest of the field. He's got 2 drivers with 3-second time penalties behind him. So he won't take it at the moment. He might not take it on track, but he can certainly take it on pens. To the inside goes Hortensio. Ranelli's fighting him back. He doesn't care. He wants this win on track. Every driver does want it. They want to say that he's done it without the penalties. And at the end of the day, Hortensio is continuing to fight, continuing to make the move up the inside against Ranelli. Can he make the move stick into 4-5? No, he doesn't quite there. Around the outside, trying to brake later than each other, trying to outbrake each other through 6 and 7. Now down towards turn 8. Is there the opportunity for Hortensio to make a move stick? Not quite there, but he goes off the circuit, goes to Ranelli, and that's going to maybe cost him a warning or 2. And then at the moment, Hortensio is trying everything he can to try and pass through Ranelli, and that has allowed Quintino to try and get into DRS window, and Lucas Shea, who is right back in it. It's 4 drivers fighting out for victory, penalties or not. It is going to be a stand-up finish. We're going to have 3 laps to go now. We're on to lap 34 after a couple of another 100 metres, and now we're on lap 34 of 36. Is there opportunity for Hortensio to make a move stick to the outside? Is it going to be a move? He's going to make the move stick. Ranelli doesn't manage to fight this one and moves his way back up into the race leading position. And at the moment, we are 3 laps to go. Hortensio has now got a car between him and Quintino. Is it going to be the opportunity? Because Ranelli has got to be careful, because he's got 2 warnings. He does not want to get a 3-second time penalty, because that then throws it to Lucas Shea, who doesn't want to get a 3-second time penalty, because he's currently got provisional P2 on pens. But none of these drivers want to win it on penalties. They want to win it on track. At the end of the day, track position is crucial. We're going to go 2.5 laps to go. 4 drivers looking to take victory. Is penalties going to play the factor, or is anyone else going to get penalties, or is it going to stay like this? It is going to make the difference. To the stadium section we go now. We're going to see Gabriel Quintino pushing that car to the absolute limit. He goes wide. That'll be another warning, if anything. And that Aston Martin is trying to push to the absolute limit as we go round the final corner to start the penultimate lap of the race. It is lap 35 of 36. And now DRS for Ranelli, DRS for Quintino, DRS for Shea, DRS denied for Hortensio. It's going to be there's a snake through towards turn 1. Nothing done there. Quintino is trying it to make a dive. Doesn't quite have enough on the brakes. It's a little bit too far back, but couldn't quite do anything there. So now it's going to be Hortensio who has still got the lead. Ranelli, Quintino. Can Quintino move into the inside? Is he going to make a move? He dives it up the inside. Contact between the 2, and that is going to be crucial as both of them make contact. They both continue up, but Quintino not able to do anything there, and he sits in P3 again. And that might be taken to should. A late dive there from Quintino, but certainly he's got alongside. Whether he had got far enough alongside, that is another story based on the rule set. Ranelli, Quintino, Shea still trailing Hortensio, but those penalties are going to come dividend at the end of the day. We're going to go round the stadium section for the penultimate time. Is there going to be a final time where these drivers can make a move stick, or is it too little too late? We're going to go round the final corner to start lap 36 of 36. Hortensio defends, use as they snake through towards turn 1. They are trying to break the DRS. As here goes Brunelli up the inside of the Ferrari. D'Ortenzio tries to defend. He does defend as we continue on through 1, 2 and 3. Turn 4 is now nose to tail. They're going to continue to snake through the next part of the lap. It is going to be the opportunity for Brunelli to take the outside line as D'Ortenzio is trying everything he possibly can, try and push each other as wide as possible. They're going to continue to fight around the final couple of corners. The Scuderias are not giving this one up, as at the end of the contact there before we go into the S's, is there going to be the opportunity as they continue to fight side by side. Brunelli just continues to go side by side. I'm surprised neither of them got off the circuit yet as Pascal Brunelli moves into race lead. 3-second time penalty for Andrea D'Ortenzio. Is there going to be an opportunity to pass? D'Ortenzio takes back the race lead, but Brunelli is not going to give this one up. Up the inside goes Quindino. He makes a move, stick for P2, but there's contact there. It's going to be a lights out finish as we go around the final corner. D'Ortenzio takes the victory on track, but Brunelli takes the victory on penalties. Pascal Brunelli takes the Mexican Grand Prix victory ahead of Lucas Shea, Gabriel Quindino and Andrea D'Ortenzio. Jensen Rosen P5, Tamas Cockney P6, Vodek Steg in P7 and Ricard Sporogis in P8. What a race in that ending. What a race between them. Penalties or not, that was an excellent battle between them. Oh, what a race. Need to take a breath there. Race winner there, Pascal Brunelli. Tamas Cockney fastest lap. Angelo D'Ortenzio, most overtakes and driver of the day. Cleanest driver, Pascal Brunelli. The Ferraris, almost Italian team should really clean that ball. Pascal Brunelli takes victory ahead of Lucas Shea, Gabriel Quindino, and Angelo D'Ortenzio. Jensen Rosen, Tamas Cockney, Sveltestig, Rigor Sporogis, Alexi Cavero, Alberto Barros, Thomas Laminen, Tony Tella, Steph Basso, Gabriel Amato, Laurent Patton, Sergio Sobrino, Tom Roberts, and Nelson Alves are how the race results look. Only 9 finishers by the end of that, 10 if you include Alberto Barros. It is the ghosted car. But that is the race. Pascal Brunelli took victory. Congratulations to him. I'm going to end the stream there because that was a race and a half. So thank you all for watching. We'll be back after the Christmas break for the final 3 races of the season. Be prepared. Please come and join us then. Thank you for watching and goodbye.